Good morning, everyone. Virgo Triad here. It is February 16th, 2018, and thank God it's Friday. I am going to pick back up from yesterday with the PSA urgent alert that I sent out to everyone. And by the way, thank you to everyone who shared ferociously that very important red alert PSA on the stolen identity tax refund fraud that's going on right now. I wanted to get a little bit deeper into that as I promised that I would yesterday. And now we do have an article that has come up from the United States Department of Justice with regards to stolen identity refund fraud that I'd like to read a portion of it to you. I will link it to the description of this video so that you can view it for yourself, along with a lot of other information that I'm going to be providing in this video. Now, let me just say before I get to reading any of this, that I would appreciate those of you, does not matter which side of the fence you are on here, whether you believe or do not believe in the Redemption Act, the TDA accounts, the factualized trusts, the Federal Reserve Bank secret accounts, whatever it is that you would like to call them. I need for you to know that this is for both of you, no matter what, both sides rather, no matter what side you are on, especially though if you believe in them, because I do want for everybody, regardless of what their feeling is about the government or about the TDA factualized trust accounts, okay, no matter what you believe, it's very important that those of you who do believe in them realize that there is more to this than meets the eye. And this specific tax fraud that's going on is leading us directly down that rabbit hole. So it's important for your own safety that you actually do listen to this video in its entirety, even though it may be a little bit more lengthy, simply because I'm trying to make sure that all of the information is all in one location for everybody to view. So if you would take a little journey with me here, I'm going to first start with the Department of Justice notification. The alert says the IRS does not send unsolicited email, text messages, nor do they use social media to discuss your personal tax issues. If you receive a telephone call from someone claiming to be an IRS employee and demanding money, you should contact the IRS Tax Scam Consumer Alert webpage, and I will link that webpage directly to this video for you. If you know you don't owe any taxes or you have no reason to believe that you do, report the incident to the Treasury Inspector General for Tax Administration at 1-800-366-4484, or you can go to www.tigta.gov and report it there. Now, the Stolen Identity Refund Fraud Enforcement Team, which is who I spoke to yesterday in Austin, Texas, are the ones that are dealing with the tax division's highest priorities in prosecuting people who have stolen identity issues and their refunds that have been stolen. Now, this is something that I'm not going to go into. This is a rather lengthy piece of information here. Very important that you do read it, so I will be linking it to the description as I stated, but this is an alert to let you know that if you're having an issue, feel you may have an issue, and after this video, you may feel that way. If you do, please pick up the phone, call 1-800-366-4484, or visit www.tigta.gov and find out what you need to do in order to protect yourself. If you have made a mistake and you have signed paperwork that someone has provided to you that has been partially filled out, and you've given authorization to someone that you are not certain is going to do what they are supposed to do with it, even if you were the one who turned your tax return in by mail or electronically, matters not, either direction. If you have filled out a piece of paper that was already filled out by someone else, you need to pick up the phone and call 1-800-366-4484 or go to www.tigta.gov. All right, now that leads me to the next piece of information that I want to share with you, and that is the latest multi-million-dollar scam in the world of anti-government zealots is taking off across the nation. Now, this is an older article, was written by the Southern Poverty Law Center. Now, for those of you that have this idea that this Redemption Act, these TDA secret Federal Reserve bank accounts, factualized trust accounts, whatever it is that you would like to call them, is something new and specific to the new swarm of information that popped up around last, I would say April, May, June area. You have no idea how far this actually goes back. I'm going to go ahead and read to you a piece of this article, and then I will be linking this article in addition to the bottom or to the description of this video. And I'm going to read it to you because I would like for you to understand that this is going to give you some bells and whistles going off with regards to what has been happening around social media lately. So it says scam artists and right-wing extremists are hawking a pseudo-legal strategy that promises both financial gain and the opportunity to take revenge against what is seen as a sham government, called redemption. The technique has earned its promoters untold profits, buried courts and other agencies under tons of worthless paper, and led to scores of arrests and convictions throughout the United States. In just one roundup of redemption activists this August, authorities in Cuyahoga County, Ohio, indicted people on charges of racketeering and other violations in a scheme involving nearly millions in worthless site drafts. The suspects allegedly tried to use the check-like drafts to buy cars and computer equipment, withdraw cash from banks, and pay off debts. Some defendants also used fake legal instruments to terrorize, attempt to intimidate, and harass government officials and law enforcement officers, according to the indictment. Last December, in Michigan, another 12 redemptionists were convicted on similar allegations in a scam that included a remarkable $550 million in bogus site drafts, as well as court filings intended to trigger probes of judges. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and link this article so that you can read it in its entirety. You need to do that. I would encourage you to, simply because it's going to give you a lot of different avenues that have been tried. This actual article was written back in 2002. All of this that you are hearing, that it may be fresh to you with regards to these secret factualized trusts, Federal Reserve bank accounts, TDA accounts, whatever you want to call them, this is not new. This is something that has been going on for a long time. It goes in different streams. So in other words, you've got, a grouping of people that will come together and faction out, and there's 4 or 5 different groups that are surrounding you. You choose whichever one you're more comfortable with to go with. They all tout this in a little bit of a different way, just like you're seeing today, where some are saying that it needs to be done as a secured party creditor. Some are saying, no, you need to do A for V or promissory notes. Some are saying that you need to try ACH, that is all electronic. Some are saying that, no, none of that is accurate. You need a mixture of 2 or 3 of those different things. This has all been done before, ladies and gentlemen, to the point that we have hundreds of people that have been arrested and indicted on exactly the same thing that you just got through hearing and seeing happen to Randall Keith Bean. Now, let me just say this. This is the first time that I have ever heard, as long as this actual Redemption Act scheme has been going on, that these groups have potentially gotten up enough courage to start selling packages full of forms that belong and were printed by the Internal Revenue Service and Treasury Department and the Federal Reserve Bank, sell them for profit, and then turn around and steal not only the funds that were used in order to purchase, the funds that were given in order to purchase these so-called packets, but also have partial forms filled out and have the audacity to take large tax refunds that are erroneous in nature. So I'm going to walk you down this rabbit hole now and let you know what it is that I have been told is actually occurring And sadly, I believe I have found a group that is a bit suspicious because almost all of the tax forms that are being used in this scheme are being presented on this YouTube channel. Okay, and because it is going to be necessary for me to actually walk you through some of the areas that I have located these forms being presented by different by this YouTube channel that I'm speaking of, I'm going to go ahead and put up here the fair use regulation. Now, I won't be going using a lot of their video, but I am going to be using enough for you to be able to actually see that the forms that I was given yesterday by the IRS agent that is in the investigation services for fraud provided to me, and they are being shown as part of the packet that you receive from this individual. And I'm sure many, many more also across the web. But this is the code for fair use. So, and this is for educational and critiquing purposes only. So I won't be using much of it, but I wanted to make sure that it was shown because that by law needs to be done. Next, I want to go over the different forms that were actually provided to me by the Internal Revenue Service inspector that I spoke to on the phone in Austin, Texas yesterday. That one of the forms that was provided to me that is being used on a regular basis that they are finding is the 1099-B. Now, the 1099-B are proceeds from broker and barter exchange transactions. Quite often, a 1099-B would be used in the event that you have a brokerage account and there are funds that have gotten either returns or losses on them. So this is a 1099-B. Okay, and next we have what is a 1099-A. A 1099-A is acquisition or abandonment of secured property. Now, I'll give you an example. With a 1099-A, you're going to see this or need to use this. For example, if your home went into foreclosure this year, this is a 1099-A. Okay, the next one that's being used, sometimes you got to understand these forms sometimes are not being used in the manner that they're supposed to be being used in, which is the reason why a lot of these really giant refunds are appearing to be coming through. And I will go over that with you in just a moment. But the form you are looking at currently is a 1099 INT. It is an interest income 1099, which means that if you have, for example, a 401k with interest, any kind of interest whatsoever that's taxable, you're going to find on your form that you get from your bank. You're going to need to file a 1099 INT. Okay, this is a 1099 OID that you're looking at. You can see right here what the form number is, okay? This is an original issue discount form. Now, let me explain that to you. What a 1099 OID is, for example, if you were to purchase online at an auction site a bond that is a $1,000 bond, that $1,000 bond may be able to be purchased at a discounted rate. Let's say, for example, you purchased a $1,000 bond for $860 on an auction site or on the Treasury Direct auction site. At that point, the interest that is between the $600 or the $860 that you spent and the $1,000 that is the value of the bond, the taxable interest is what you would find that comes back to you in a statement, and then you would need to file a 1099 OID. The next serious form that's in these so-called packages that they're seeing come back through the IRS erroneously quite often are the 2848, which is the power of attorney and declaration of representative. Now, as I explained in the video yesterday, this is providing power of attorney and availability for a representative to speak on your behalf. So when a tax preparer would use this is if they're providing warranty to you. For example, if you get audited for an extra $125, I'll be there to back up everything I filed for you. But in order for them to do that, they need to be able to speak to an IRS representative on your behalf, and therefore they would need a Form 2848, power of attorney and declaration of representative. Okay, the next form that you might find is a Form 1096. This is the annual summary and transmittal of U.S. information returns. The party that would be filing your return for you, or who you may have on one of these forms, would need this form in order to transmit information from a 1099 and several other forms. Again, that's form number 1096. Form number 56F, Notice of Concerning Fiduciary Relationship of Financial Institution. This form, once again, gives authority to a fiduciary relationship. It provides banking information. It provides all personal information. It is a very scary form. Along with the next form that I'm going to show you, these two forms, along with a power of attorney, can easily sign your refund away. Form number 56F. And this form was actually forwarded to me by the agent themselves this morning. This is showing up on a great number of the returns that are actually fraudulent. And the reason they are fraudulent is because this form is being filled out. Now, from speaking to them this morning, I have found out that the majority of the people that are filing, that are getting these huge returns, are getting the returns erroneously because they are filling out this form with regards to securities savings bond transactions. As I have gone over numerous times, Treasury Direct does not hold a bond that you have not purchased yourself. But the people that believe that they have bonds under their birth certificate and under their social security cards, marriage licenses, all kinds of things, dead relatives, they are filling out these forms left and right. And these forms are being touted largely by the groups that are providing paperwork. What's happening with these forms is they are getting filled out, and although you can see right here that the instructions immediately say, in filling out this form, you should be aware that the making of any false, fictitious, or fraudulent claim or statement to the United States is a crime that is punishable by fine and or imprisonment. Okay. People are filling these forms out with whatever it is that they're getting back from this calculator on Treasury Direct or on Fidelity or whatever site they are now lying to you about, okay? And they are having you fill out this information based on that. The assumption is that you're going to get this huge refund because your current taxes are going to be paid. If you're not getting a refund, it will be pulled out of the bond, and the bond remaining amount will be forwarded in the form of a refund check to you. Wait, maybe not to you, because of course, if the form's already partially filled out, it's going to be turned in to the person who is actually the one who's making this claim, who's on the form. However, back to the durable power of attorney for securities and savings bond transactions. Let's go ahead and not be signing our name away, our refund away, or giving anybody power of attorney over anything, okay, without you being in the office and knowing who they are and you knowing for sure that these things exist. This form was not one that I was provided yesterday. This is a new form that came up this morning. It was forwarded to me by an actual IRS investigator. This form is the one that is creating these majorly large refunds that are erroneous in nature. And if your refund gets sent back to a consultant or a so-called tax preparer that has provided information on the authorization forms that they actually get the return, you're on the hook for whatever thousands of dollars are supposedly supposed to come back to you based on these so-called securities and saving bonds. All right. So I hope that makes it clear as to what these forms are used for, and what makes them so incredibly scary. So not only are your tax returns potentially going to get stolen if you are a victim of this type of fraud, but more than what you are really owed may be stolen because now you have filed a fictitious in a fictitious format for a fictitious savings bond that really never belonged to you in the first place. And I am not, I'm not going to get into an argument of, well, if it, if it has my social security number on it, no. And there's no way for you to determine that, regardless the way that you guys have been going about doing it. You cannot determine something from a calculator that has set parameters already. Whatever you think you have found, if you have not confirmed it, gone and sat down and spoken to someone to explain to them this whole process, and confirmed that you paid for that bond and that bond is indeed in your name, and they have showed you proof of that, and you hold receipt of that bond, it is not yours. And I don't care what you've been told by anyone. You don't mess around with the SEC, and that's exactly what we're dealing with here. The Securities Commission is not going to have any empathy in the event that you come up and say, oh, well, I was told by blah, blah, blah to look this up on Treasury Direct. I did, and I decided I wanted it, so I'm filing it through my taxes, and there you go. It just doesn't work that way, folks. You know if you own something because you pay for it. This is not something that you want to mess around with, no matter what side of the fence you're on. So I'm warning you that if you have filled out a durable power of attorney for securities and savings bond transactions on a bond or a security that you did not physically purchase yourself, you need to go ahead and give an attorney a call, because you're going to find that you're in a huge amount of mess. All right, now, let me just say this before I move further. I want to make myself perfectly clear. There are going to be a number of people that come out and say, this video is doing nothing but trying to distract you and fearmonger. Fearmongering is when you make a claim that is false or exaggerated. My claim is not false, nor is it exaggerated. The SEC is a scary group of individuals if you're on the wrong side of it. This will definitely put you on the wrong side of it. As I have expressed concern before with regards to anything having to do with the Treasury Department, you do not want Secret Service showing up at your front door because you have tried to pull a security or savings bond out of the Treasury that you claim is worth $300,000, when in reality, it isn't yours at all, and you were just mistaken at the fact that it was yours. Because the Secret Service is who deals with that. And I'm sorry, I find those individuals to be a rather scary group of people to deal with in the event that you are on the wrong side of the law when having to deal with them. So that's all I'm going to say about that. Fear-mongering is something that occurs when you are exaggerating something, or something that you are saying is not necessarily true. What I am telling you is 100% fact. Okay? 100% fact. If you didn't purchase the savings bond or the security, and you don't hold the receipt in your hand, it is not yours. Fact. Okay, moving on. So, once again, the forms. 5188, Form 56F, Form 1099A, B, INT, and OID, Form number 2848, and Form number 1096. These are the forms that were provided to me via the IRS yesterday when I spoke to them with regards to what was happening with all of this fraud. Okay, this is how it leads us down the rabbit hole with regards to some of the people that have actually been selling packages online right here on YouTube and a lot of places on the web. Now, I'm going to use this video as an example simply because it is on video. All right, I would certainly caution you against anyone selling a package that has to do with IRS forms or anything that you would have to provide your social security number on, where you're not literally walking it yourself into a government office. Because remember, with the IRS, you're not walking it into the IRS, you're either mailing it or filing it electronically. So if you follow that rule, do not provide anything with your personal identifying information unless you are walking it in yourself or you are sitting in a licensed tax preparer's office at the time, then you should remain safe in that part of it. I have to say that I do not know, with regards to what's happening on the video I'm about to show you, whether or not this is what these individuals are doing. So I'm not pointing the finger at them and saying absolutely this is what they're doing and this is who you need to look out for. What I'm doing is saying that it's very odd that I got these pieces of information from the IRS that all of a sudden, I'm looking around to see if there's anybody on YouTube or on social network at all that is providing an availability for us to look at the forms that they're selling. And I happen to run across this video, which happens to have darn near every single form that I was warned about. Okay, and as you can see, before I've even started the video to try to critique it for you, the very first thing that you see is the durable power of attorney for securities and savings bonds transaction, which is the form 5188. That is the same form that I just got through showing you, and I wanted to make sure that you see this before I actually get going. This is the very first thing you see, unfortunately. I have looked into these people, as you know, in the past. I have done several warnings with regards to this group, as they have attempted many times to try to sell things without being a licensed entity in order to do so. When they were selling juice, it was, for example, they didn't have a health license. They are not bonded. According to what I have been watching lately, supposedly this group of individuals does have a license in, I believe it's the state of California, but it's a consulting license. And once again, that's one of the things that we were forewarned about, is that, tax preparers and consultants are the ones that have either been hacked or have been guilty of using these forms, selling these forms in packages, so on and so forth. So that fits the bill also, unfortunately. But once again, okay, I'm not saying that this group is doing this. I'm just simply using this video as an example to you because it was the only one I was actually able to find that would show what was in the packet of paperwork that they're sending out. So let's get that straight, okay? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and play just a few minutes of this so that you can take a look at the forms that he is talking about here, and then we will go over each one more time.
Money Boy Films Midwest in the building, y'all. I'm feeling amazing. And I hope you are too. I do this because I want to. You do this because you want to. And with that being said, my wife's not good. Oh yeah, I'm all right. What's up, y'all? Got them forms for y'all. Come get these packets. You know what I'm saying? I got these forms. Why not bullshit?
Okay, and you'll have to forgive me for just a second here. I'm going to make sure that we don't get too much of this video in here because, again, fair use is what we're using in order to be able to analyze it at all. I'm going to try and skip through so you can just take a look at the forms. So he's coming up on the first form here.
Ooh. Wow. They're trying to make it foggy for y'all so y'all can see.
Okay, and it's very difficult to see. As he said, it's very foggy, but 1099A is the form that he's actually looking at. Okay, so you heard right there, we have the Form A, 1099A, 1099B, 1099INT, and 1099OID. Now, I just went over the forms with you. You can back this video up and take a look, and you will see that those are 4 of the ones that the IRS gave me information on with regards to seeing these forms bulked together. Now, understand, everybody fills out different forms. I'm not saying, oh, if you have to fill out an OID, you need to be concerned. No. What I'm saying is that these are forms that are sold in one bulked in packet. So that's what you need to be looking out for. If you were provided a packet that you purchased or even were provided it free of charge, and they are bulked together with these specific forms, and you have a specific power of attorney or durable power of attorney form that has been partially filled out, that is when you need to pay close attention, okay?
2848.
Okay, right there we have form number 2848. Now we're on to number 5 of the forms that I was provided by the IRS that are generally being seen in these packets.
Attorney. This the cold one right here.
Now, what he just said is this is the cold one right here. Now, I'm not exactly sure what that means, but as you see, he's back at the durable power of attorney for securities and savings bonds. This is the one that has the warning on it that says that, hey, if you didn't purchase this, you better think twice about filing it, because it is definitely a crime to submit this and try and receive funds back from the Treasury Department or pay your tax return with it. And certainly getting an erroneous return is going to throw you into an audit. Now, I want you to pay close attention to what he says when he says that he can't show you what's on it.
That's that power. Can't show you the whole form because it's filled out already.
That was the reason why I did this video. I'm extremely concerned, folks, and I'm not pointing fingers because at this point, I don't really know what he's doing with these forms. What I do know are reports that have come in through my email, both anonymous and not, that have said, hey, there's something wrong. These guys have got terms and conditions that seem like they're violating my personal rights. There's something wrong. They're doing things off camera, in big meetings that appear as though they are trying to control people. They're charging a lot more than what people realize. They're charging for forms that don't cost the general public anything, that they didn't print out themselves. They are selling packets of paperwork that come from the IRS and the Federal Reserve for profit. They are getting personal pieces of information that they shouldn't have. And just very recently, I saw this. Okay, so as you can see, we're at another one of the videos on this specific page. I'm just going to take you down here to this comment. And I apologize to the person who wrote this comment if you didn't want this seen. However, it is available for the public to view. And as you can see, it says, "You are not fam. I have paperwork. I don't need your help. You're stealing from people, not helping." That is extremely concerning based on what information that we have found out is possibly going on here. Now, let me just say that this channel is absolutely not the only channel selling packets of paperwork. We have this channel selling packets of paperwork for $350 each, from my understanding. I don't watch this channel, so I don't know for certain that what this person has in their packets. I only know that they're selling packets, and those packets are $350 each. We have this channel that I've been informed is either selling or giving packets away that they are providing instruction upon. Once again, I have absolutely no idea what are in the packets. I do not follow this individual, so therefore I don't know. But what I did find out when I looked through the channel was that I didn't seem to be able to locate any IRS forms that are being shown. So once again, the only one that I was able to find what actually was provided in the packets was the very first one, where we're using the video. We have this channel that is not only providing packets and packages, but also selling seminars on becoming a secured party creditor and accessing different accounts. Once again, this person sells their packets, so I have absolutely no idea whether there are any IRS forms within that package or not. Just notifying everybody that this is a party that sells a package for Redemption Act purposes. We have this party, which is part of the group that is selling the packages that have the IRS forms in them. There is Money Boy Films and there is Money Boy Films Midwest. This is Money Boy Films. Now, his channel states that he is in California. And of course, we have this channel, which is where the video came from that I used under fair use in order to show you that the forms are very much the same as what was provided to me in the forms in the packets that the IRS is seeing, where the erroneous amounts of tax money is being sent out in refunds, and you know, they're stealing the money in different ways. Now, I'm not saying that that's what Money Boy Films is doing. What I am saying is that the forms are the same, and this is the only channel that I was actually able to find what was in the forms that they were selling. Now, let's just talk honestly just for a second, folks, okay? As I said before, you're going to be told all kinds of different things, and I'm fully aware that I'm going to be attacked viciously for doing this video. I have absolutely nothing to gain to do this video. As a matter of fact, it's going to be a huge, huge headache for me because I'm going to have all of the people that I just got through talking about very angry and throwing daggers at me through comments and emails and everything else, simply because of the fact that I have said that they sell packages. Now, let me make sure that I make myself clear here. The reason that I am exposing any of this to you is because of the information I have been provided with regards to tax return fraud. If they're not doing anything of any sort wrong, I shouldn't need to hear anything, because in reality, just because I made mention of the fact that you're selling a package for the purpose of attempting to try to use what you feel to be rightfully yours in a redemption package or in the Redemption Act, does not mean that you are necessarily doing some sort of tax refund fraud. It just simply means that when I went through trying to find out if there was anybody in the YouTube platform that was showing the forms that were provided to me that the IRS said were suspicious, okay, that they're seeing on a run-on basis here, I happened to locate one party that was showing those forms on video. That's all I'm saying. So, for those of you that have had dealings with anyone, and I'm not just talking about on YouTube or on Facebook or on social network, I am talking about in person. For those of you that have had dealings with anyone that maybe you aren't certain that these forms that are filled out partially for you are in your best interest, contact a tax preparer, contact a tax attorney, contact a financial analyst, contact somebody from the IRS who can walk you through the process, contact the Department of Justice, anyone who can verify for you. If you want to know if the person that's preparing your taxes or the consulting group that is preparing your taxes or that is providing you forms is legal, knows what they're doing, and has been trained properly, then contact the IRS and find out if they are licensed. Because in order to be a tax preparer in the United States, you have to be licensed with the IRS so that they know that you understand the statutes. Please make sure that you're safe. Make sure that you share this video. If you know of someone who strongly believes in the Redemption Act, in the TDA accounts, in any of the secret account ideologies that are going on around out there, this isn't about attacking that. This is about attacking the potential of theft from you personally. Please make sure that you share it for those people. It's more important that they get it than for the people who don't, who would never go to a consultant in order to do this. One other thing that I want to mention, I listened to a very disturbing video yesterday, and that video presented none other than Miss Heather Ann Tucci-Giraffe herself, requesting for people to go through the IUV website and submit any failures or successes that they had with their ACH process, meaning that they wanted for you to scan what came back from different attempts that you had made, whether it be through Amazon, whether it be through PayPal, or whether it be through your electric company, to scan that personal information and forward it to their email. All of your private information is on there, whether you realize it or not. Your social security number is what you were using in your actual attempt for a lot of you. Now, I'm not suggesting that the IUV website is doing anything wrong. I'm asking you to think if you have put your social security number out there anywhere. Because remember, not all of the people that are finding out that fraud has been committed against them are having it done by tax return that they are turning in. Some of them are finding out that people have taken their social security number and are filing falsified tax returns on their information, and you don't find out until you file yours and the IRS comes back and says something's already been filed for you. So anyone that you may have given personal information to, you need to think about this, okay? If you've done anything at all that could put you in jeopardy, notify the IRS, make sure that they know, so that this way, when you do submit something, or when something is submitted in, or if something does get submitted in prior to you filing your personal tax return, a stop can be put on it and you don't lose your entire return to fraud. I'm just making mention of these things because it's very strange for someone to ask you for your personal information over the internet. I don't care how much you think you can trust them. Those types of documentation, those pieces of documentation, you should never even be providing to your best friend, let alone to somebody over the internet, okay? So everybody, please just think, and if there's anyone that you can think of that needs this information more than you do, please share it. Please get this information out there. It's important because these thefts really are taking place. And they're taking place in a format that is thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars that are putting people in jeopardy in more ways than just tax fraud and losing money. For any questions or comments, please feel free to email me at virgotriad@protonmail.com. You can also comment, and I will get back to you as quickly as possible. I will make this one statement before I go. This is just a reminder, because this information, even though it shouldn't be, even though this is for the safety and security of everybody on the internet and on the YouTube platform, I know that there are going to be those that choose to attack. If that is what you plan to do, you certainly can attempt to try to do that and put it in the comments, but I have my comments filtered. I will block you and remove the comment. So if you don't find this information useful, please just move on. But if you do, and you understand that the reason I'm putting this out there is for the good of the community, then please share it, like the video, so that it moves up into an area where it's being shown more often and other people will visibly see it that are not subscribed to me. And let's try to get this information out there, because truthfully, this is a scary scenario. And although I don't know that anybody is doing anything wrong on the YouTube platform, I do know that people are being wronged and people are losing huge sums of money in refunds, and they're being held liable by the IRS for the fraud that's being committed on erroneous refunds. Everybody take care and have a good day.